Today on Denver Hot Rods, we head out to Bandimere Speedway for drag racing with the Vintage Drag Racing Association. Then we check out a 34 Ford coupe with a rare set of Stevens heads made in Denver for Ford Flathead engines. Then, on Hot Rod Builds, we show you how to hone spindle bushings on a Sunnen Hone. Then we check out a 40 Ford coupe that's been stored away since 1965. With vintage racing events like the Hot Rod Dirt Drags and the Hot Rod Hill Climb, Colorado is a great place to find hot rod racing. The Vintage Drag Racing Association holds drag racing events at Bandimere Speedway in Morrison. We caught up with some of the racers and took in some of the action.
My name's Paul out of Lafayette, Colorado, and got a little 26 Roadster that I'm actually working on slowing down a little bit so I can stay within my tech rating. But it's a 12-second car that I'm trying to get to run high 13, so not quite there yet. I ran a 1340 last run, but it's because I decided I wanted to chase my buddy. The motor is a 281 cubic inch flathead. It's supercharged. It's got all the goodies in it. It's got a 4-inch crank that's been semi-girdled, main capped. It's got ISKI 400 Junior cam, some heads that I custom machined, and then it's got just tons of port and polish and matching work on it. And it's got a Tom Roberts kit in it, which is a Magnuson TVS 1900 blower. So with all that stuff, running a quick fuel 650 carburetor, no power valve, double pumper, so just on and off, which is great for the track, maybe not so great for the street, but that's okay. Locked out, lock distributor at 20 degrees. And other than that, running slicks, C4, 9-inch, lock posi in the back, Auburn posi, and just a lot of stuff to make it go fast. So everybody knows me as Flathead Paul. That's why you see me Flathead Paul on Instagram or on Facebook, because no one knows how to say my last name, so I figured, well, I like flatheads, and everybody knows me as the Paul with the flathead, so that's where you'll see me. Checking plugs. Woo! Look it. Zoom in, baby. I ran a 13.8, which is what I was looking for. So it's running good. It's just more the driver right now, to get the driver consistent with the car, because I got to drive it completely different than the way I drove it last year. So learning process, having fun.
My name's Ken Hendershot. I got a 1948 Angler. It's got a 293 cubic inch flathead Ford in it, supercharger. I ran 1250 at 105 miles an hour on my first pass today. I built quite a bit of it. The car was already built. It's a car from the 60s. It used to run back in the 60s. The owner got him, Jerry Underwood. He raced A-gas with it in Colorado. It's had a lot of changes over the years. I've changed a few things for sure. Built the motor, rear end transmission, that kind of stuff. I've been racing for about 4 years now. Got it from a good friend of mine that used to race with us. Since passed on. Always liked the car, so I got it for him.
So straight out of the box, the first run I did 18.028. And then the second run I did 17.829. It should be a little quicker than that once I do the timing and the carbs. Not bad for having about 5 miles on it.
John Lee Johnson, automatic clear right off the start line. Red light. So John Lee Johnson at a Fontaine, motored on down the quarter mile.
I'm on the trailer. The guy behind me put me there, but actually I put myself there. So I'm still figuring the car out. So instead of rolling on the throttle, I stabbed it, which is what I should be doing anyways. And I red lit by 100 thousandths. And then because I stabbed it, I ran fast again. So I ran back to a 13.383, which is a tenth of a second too fast for me to run anyway. So this week it'll be change the oil. I'll put this little guy is going to go where this guy is, and you can see he's bigger. Yeah. And that will take about 30 horsepower out of the motor. And hopefully make out the trick.
And I do believe that brings up our final round here in our flathead and inline category with our Vintage Drag Racing Association. Hendershot took out Dozeritz, Duggan, and had a bye to get to the final. Sonnefeld beat Mark Johnson, had the bye, and Frank Hutto. So both cars having the bye at least once. Both cars in the final. In and says Kent's 002 lesser to Quentin's 36. So Kent Hendershot, congratulations, your winner today, VDRA Flathead.
In May of 1950, this ad for Stevens overhead valve heads appeared in Hot Rod magazine. Only 3 sets of these were made. One set is on this 34 Ford coupe, owned by Gene Palmer.
My name is Gene Palmer. This is a very rare motor that was built in Denver in the late 40s. It was built by Stevens Frenzel. There were only 3 that were ever built. This is the only one that's running. Where the other 2 are. One's in Speedway's Museum in Lincoln, Nebraska. The other one is in California. It belonged to Doug King, who passed away, and it's now in the hands of Jim Lincoln. Hemispherical head conversion for a Ford Flathead. It's a true hemispherical head, unlike the Chryslers and the Dodges and the DeSotos. They're partial Hemi heads. I think the heads, the unique thing about the heads is they were built in Denver, Colorado in the late 40s. Which makes them very special to me because I'm a second generation Denver native.
And it's always nice to have something that was built in your local territory. So anyway, well, one survived here anyway. So that's about it.
If you have an early Ford hot rod front end, chances are someday you'll need to replace the front spindle bushings. Worn out bushings can lead to uneven tire wear, front end shimmy, or death wobble. The best way to hone the bushings is with the Sunnen Hone. First, replace the old bushings with the new ones using a press. Make sure to line up the holes for the grease fittings. Honing the bushings is a better alternative to a hand reamer because you get a much more exact and tighter fit for the kingpin. Now, onto the Sunnen Hone. The oiler keeps everything lubricated as the machine hones down the brass fitting until the kingpin slips in and out easily. Perfect fit. Meanwhile, behind the facade of this innocent-looking garage in Washington Park West sits a 1940 Ford coupe that's been in storage since 1965.
That was the year of my birth, so extrapolate from that whatever you will. But this car was originally built or bought by my father in the 50s. Not really even as a hot rod. He just got a good deal on it, as he told me. And in that when he bought it, it was only about a 15-year-old car, so it really wasn't a sought-after hot rod. But my dad and uncle later started a body shop, and in the late 50s, metal flake paint started becoming popular out of California, and they were trying to experiment with how to mix up metal flake paint, and they used this car as the guinea pig, and that's how it got this red metal flake. So they were pretty regularly attending hot rod events and car shows and things like that. So this was just another thing, probably more of an advertisement for their body shop than anything, with the paint and everything. But I've never seen the car run. My dad parked it before I was old enough to remember driving in it. I may have ridden in it when I was too young to remember, but by the time I remember it first, it was in my parents' house when I was about 4 years old.
I met Arnie at a vintage motorcycle night, and I was on a Moto Guzzi old LAPD bike, and he was on a Enfield Indian, and we chatted a little bit, and he was going to show us, I think maybe his Norton or something. He's like, yeah, come back to my garage. And it was at Jerry's 404 on Broadway, and we motored back here on motorcycles, and got some beer, and we were just sitting in the alley drinking beer, talking motorcycles, and we were looking at his bikes in there, and I somehow peeked into this side of the garage, and my heart just stopped. And I've been after this car ever since. That was probably 10 or 12 years ago. Is that first class? Because that's what they do. They collect basket and bait. Fill it up at all? I don't want to go too far. I had one blow up on me once. Not cool. I like the looks of this wood. There's a lead file under the running board there. Is that gonna hold, dude? This driver's side. This one, if I go any further, I might end up with a face full of it. This one's not. It's all. Oh man. Editor's note, even prettier than one I ever thought. Vintage Budweiser, original recipe.
Might have been overserved that day.
Overserved with gas.
Yeah. It's kind of hot. No, actually, just look at the chrome exhaust. These can go with you for 34. I guess I usually like a weak cast iron. Yeah, so they have a name. There's a casting, some cast in there, something Denver. Yeah, that's a mark.
Lumen Denver?
Lumen something. Original 6-volt.
Oh my God, it's a Montgomery Ward battery. 6 volt.
Oh, and you can see the little. Oh, man. That's from the 30s.
Paint on
That
the
is
door.
cool. That's saved that dirt.
I want to be able to see what I'm crashing.
You want me to steer or push?
As long as I don't have bow hair going on my bucket ready.
Probably gonna have bow hairs on it. You gotta turn to the right. Do you need some Windex? He wiped it off. I don't know. Ready, Fred?
Sure.
Okay. I got no leverage. I'm pushing a rust hole. Let it roll back. Now go. Okay, now get. Somebody near the front to stop it or no? I'm at the front, but I need to stop it.
They're not going to stop this thing.
So how do you, well, hold on, you hit a lead file. Hold on. Felt like it's gonna roll.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna have to not crash into all the bike.
It's going to roll as soon as you go over the threshold.
Yeah, where it's close to rolling. Ready? Here we go. You should be right here, eh? I don't know, whatever. Oh. I can hit the door?
No, you're good.
Keep coming straight. All right, cut it hard. Straight down, huh? Yeah, we should. Yeah. All right, ready? Now that you can get all the angles. Yeah, that is fucked. Better go talk nice to it and sit in there for a few. Maybe cut it. Look at the original spare.
What's that?
That's Hot Rod magazines.
Ah! Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that sucks.
It does look like it was in a fire.
Jesus.
Arnie thought that the triple manifold was in here, but it's not.
Where did he found?
I mean, the value to me, well, number one, it's a deluxe coupe. The paint is just to die for, I think. The rust is unfortunate and the mold is unfortunate, but fortunately I'm an upholstery guy, so that's not going to be too much of a trouble. But it's the history, you know, and that it belonged to my friend's family, and it's been a Denver custom / hot rod for so long, and it was shown, you know, in 58, and just the history behind it is what makes it all worthwhile, you know.
That's our show for today. Be sure to find Denver Hot Rods on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We leave you now with more racing from Bandimere Speedway. Thanks for watching.
Speed Shop Methods.